He's crazy like Jack Bauer. His name is Forrest Power. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, YouTube, depending where you are. It's a lovely sunny day over here in the UK, and I intend to kick back in a bit and, soak up some rays, because at the minute I am a bit of a pasty white boy. But for that reason, I'm going to keep this commentary quite short and sweet. Today we're playing a bit of team deathmatch on Radiation, but before I talk about this gameplay, I'd just like to give a big shout out to one of my friends, the COD blogger. I'm going to put his link in the description into this video, and basically the COD blogger is a channel and a website that give you loads and loads of top information about upcoming Call of Duty titles and all things Call of Duty basically. So if you need any information, here's your man. Check him out in the description, the COD blogger. But yeah, on to today's gameplay, and like I say, we're playing a bit of team deathmatch on Radiation. Now, I've got a couple of tips that might help you out on this map. Basically, the first thing to bear in mind that when you're playing Radiation, the middle of the map is an absolute graveyard, unless you're underground obviously, because there's just so many vantage points that you can be picked off from. In fact, that's a pretty general sort of tip that you can take from Call of Duty. If you want to be good at this game, you've got to know every single angle that you can be picked off from and sort of scope them out before you move. Every time you move, you should know where people can get you from, and you should be moving to cover all the time. I've had a few questions about, effective use of the chopper gunner, which, seems quite apt as well while I'm in one on the gameplay. And my first major tip that I can give you about using chopper gunners is that when you've got one in the air, the people that you should be looking to take out first are the static soldiers. Now what I mean by that is that the people that are standing still, and when I make this point it sounds really logical, but the people that are trying to shoot you down will be stood still, and your objective is to keep that chopper gunner in the air for as long as possible. So look at all times for the people that are stood still and try and pick them off first, because if you do that, you'll be able to keep your chopper gunner in, for as long as you want, hopefully. So yeah, that's basically the best tip I can give you for using chopper gunners. Actually, when I call that chopper gunner in there, I didn't expect to sort of die because I didn't realise that I was on that escalator, but apparently if you call a chopper gunner in there, it doesn't take you up on that escalator and throw you into that sort of fiery pit of hell that is that meat grinder. So that might be one thing for you to bear in mind. I've called my SR-71 in here because I've got my dogs kill streak coming up next, and I really need to get them. So basically, tips for when you're using SR-71, just attack. This is undoubtedly in my mind the best kill streak in the game. I'll just pick off this knob gobbler who's camping here with a little nade, and that gets me with dogs. But coming back to SR-71s, the most overpowered thing in the game, they give you such an advantage over the enemy. I think they're an even better kill streak than chopper gunners almost, because you can just run riot with them. You've got such an advantage, and I see some people sort of kick back, and even some people get an SR-71 and then jump in a chopper gunner. What's the point in that? The chopper gunner's still going to be there when you come back. You may as well get as many kills as you can while you've got your Blackburn in the air. And so as you can see, I'm sort of practicing what I preach here, and I know every conceivable angle that I can be picked off from at all times, and I'm sticking to walls like glue. Every time I'm turning a corner, I'm making sure that I'm as little of me as exposed as possible. And I'm running to this warehouse because I think there's two main safe zones on this map, and one is the warehouse, which I've just come out of, and one is the sort of mesh on the other side that gives a great viewpoint of B. A quick note about that little exchange there. There were two guys that I picked off. One went into last stand, and another one was still free. If you drop someone into last stand and there's someone next to him, make sure you pick off the guy that's not in last stand first, because he's still a threat. You've got to think, if a guy's in last stand, he's not much of a threat to you. And you should always look to pick off the guys that are the threats first before you even bother playing with the last standers. And so I'm following my Blackbird as best as possible. I'm looking for another gun at this point because I've not got much ammo left, and I'm always chasing the enemy spawn. A lot of people like to camp on Radiation, especially in that house where I picked the guy off with the grenade before, but I don't see the point in it. The best way to rack up a good kill to death ratio on Call of Duty for my money is to be quite aggressive, intelligently aggressive I'd say, because if you're camping you'll get 4 or 5 kills, of course you will, but it's after 4 or 5 kills that someone will come back, or 2 or 3 people will get really pissed off with you, and then that's when you start getting nades chucked in your direction. So that's why, in my opinion, camping does not pay. So yeah, there's a couple of tips on how to be successful on radiation. I hope you found that useful. If you did, please say so. Like, comment and subscribe. This has been short and sweet. I'm now off to enjoy the lovely UK sunshine. I'm Forest Power, guys, and it's been emotional.